Well, friends, we are convening here on another episode of the Four Friends series. And we're going to go right into it. I want to know, do you three believe that people can be motivated, or must motivation, as we know it or how you feel it, must it come from within? We're going right into it. I'm going to start with
Must
you.
it? You said
Must it? Must it?
Must it?
Must it come from within?
Ultimately. I would say.
Here we go.
So like big picture thinking, right? That's ultimately, yes, it must come from you, but does it always come from you? Hell to the nah. Right? Because we're inspired by things or people or events. Right? It relays back to us, but...
So is inspiration the same as motivation?
Motivation. I think that's more outside motivation. Because you do it for, right? I do a lot of stuff for my kids. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You make sacrifices for your kids.
Yeah.
That's the reason. So that's an outside thing.
Okay.
You say more things, Eric.
I mean, I think that you ultimately, like,
yeah.
you need to want to do something enough to where, like, motivation can come from the outside and everything, but you have to want it for yourself first. And like, really, if you're doing it for other reasons, outside reasons, and not anything from within, then I think it's not going to last very long. It's more like, for whatever your own reason is, like, you have to want to push yourself to do whatever that thing is.
Okay, so you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, that motivation must come from within.
I mean, pretty much. There has to be some driving factor from within to, like...
Well, you're doing the action, right?
Yeah.
But you can
seek... But the reasoning, I think,
you can seek things to light that fire from the outside. So, like, a motivating point is, like, I will get the carrot, you know, if somebody's dangling the carrot, right? That's my motivation. But I'm doing the action of...
So you're saying other things can spur you on.
Sure.
So,
like,
it's not from within.
Well, it's both. That's the thing. It's not one or the other. It's both. But ultimately, it's you doing the thing.
Okay.
So it must be about you as an individual.
Okay.
Isn't it always? This is our ego, correct?
Well, I think there's a difference.
Okay.
There's a difference between motivation and discipline. And I think you can accomplish more with discipline than you can with motivation. Because you don't always have to be motivated if you're disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, discipline will get the ball rolling. Like, if you just...
Well, motivation can get the ball rolling. But you have to be disciplined about it. That consistency leads you.
When I don't want to do it, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Reluctantly, but also I probably feel good after, right? Mm-hmm. So I made a good choice, even though, I totally agree with that. Totally agree. But they're all. Are we saying the same thing? Like, are these all antonyms?
That was bad English.
Is that right though? Yeah. Synonyms are.
Antonyms and synonyms. I used to say synonyms.
Put us on the spot.
I know, so sorry. Cinnamon.
Cinnamons.
Cinnamon.
I just find it, when I look as an older person on Instagrams,
on the grams,
that there's catchwords. That's probably with anything. There's catchwords, especially with social media, and like, you know, and maybe it's just the algorithm that feeds to me. I don't know, but there's a lot of, you know, people talking about motivation and a lot of good content out there, theoretically. But it's like, I think people they misunderstand the concept of motivation. I think somehow it gets, I don't know, it just gets, it becomes generic at times. I mean, you see David Goggins, right? Like the epitome of like this, you know, crazy trainer and all that. And you're hearing all this stuff constantly and constantly. And then other guys like Cameron Haynes doing it, and other people. And there's a lot of, you know, females that are ultra trainers too, without a doubt. But you get so much of this information that I think does it motivate people? Does it
You mean
motivate
like it's
the masses? Does it?
It's like saturated almost.
I think it's saturated. Yeah, it becomes it's about a catchphrase to me. It's just because it's being, I don't know how to say
like
it.
a gimmick.
It's almost
Okay.
almost. And what does it mean anymore to be motivated? Like there's all the get rich quick schemes, right? Do this and make $400 a day, and that's all proliferating and all that stuff. It just makes it seems like we're going from point A to point Z, at least visually, without talking about what has to happen from B to Y and all that goes on in there in the journey. It's just like we're taking them right to the end result. And is that the motivation? To show folks the end of what you can have and they got to figure it out on their own? It's just a different landscape now.
Yeah, because we're in the age of Aquarius, right? And things are
I'm Aquarius.
I know. We're in your age. I'm frightened.
Oh, I feel like
No.
I'm in my age every day. Trust me.
No,
in my
but
age.
things are changing rapidly. Technology is about to expand greatly. So we're in a new age, I think. And sometimes that's tough to accept, right?
You don't say.
Yeah, because you used to do this and you used to do that, but maybe because of the advancement, things are more readily available and people capitalize on that. Whether their motivation is like becoming rich or like is that surface level almost the motivation?
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
So don't you result in the surface from the surface, right? So it all looks like very superficial out there. But like, who are you to determine who gets motivated from what?
I think they're trying to. The people that are putting the content out are trying to motivate. Like, I don't want to motivate anybody, but if someone can learn from my experience and not maybe make the same mistake, that's all I want out of sharing anything.
Right.
But there are people that make a living out of trying to motivate other people.
It's money. It's the ultimate motivator. If you look at 90% of the content creators, they're being driven by the generation of revenue. So if you ask yourself, is this real? Is it a gimmick? No, it's someone who's selling you something, regardless of what it is. Are you going to buy it? So you see the guy's got the big muscles. He's telling you that you have to have his training program and then you can look exactly like he does. Only you don't know that he's taking supplements. He's taking steroids. He's working out 6 hours in a day. He has a personal trainer. You look at all these things. Is that really authentic? Are you and I really going to put that time, effort, money into that?
Right.
Probably not. Could we? Yes, if we really wanted to. But his motivation is he's going to make money and he's looking to sell you something. It's like a commercial.
Mm-hmm. That's like what the internet is. Like,
Yeah.
Google should literally be paying everybody a living wage because of our algorithms or what we contribute day to day on social media. Think about it. Why isn't that a thing?
We're the product.
Right. And ultimately correct. Right. But the work that we put in are, how it tells you on your phone, like how much time you've spent on X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. Look at where you're putting your attention. Facebook should be paying you. Instagram should be paying you at that point. Does that make sense? And people are capitalizing on this. Mm-hmm. They just recognize like what it is and they're like playing the game. So like you can't get mad at the system, right? You gotta like understand the system and like hack it. That's why all these biohackers, that's the next influence. These biohackers are out there, right? They're motivating the masses, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're like, oh, I put like, do you do Dave Asprey? Mm-mm. He put up some weird crap lately. Do you know Dave Asprey?
I think I know who that is.
I post about him a lot. I
Yes.
actually post about him today. He did like the bulletproof diet. Do you know the bulletproof diet?
I know bulletproof
No.
coffee is.
Yes.
Oh, I do know what you're talking
Tastes
about.
terrible.
Yes. It is awful.
Well, it's organic, you guys, and there's like no mold in it, so it's pretty legit.
Yeah. There's yes. I'm not going to discount anything because I won't because I'm not knowledgeable enough to discount anything.
I like that.
But there's
You're like, I bow out.
Yeah. Well. I mean, intellectually, how could I take a stand on something I don't know anything about?
Right.
But it just seems like there's a lot of quote unquote hacks being It's fun.
There are.
Motivation, though. I want to go back to you because you do ultra marathons, which
Yeah.
I think you're insane. But I said that complimentary.
I second that.
Yeah. but I mean, talk about insane motivation. Like we were having, so I will share. Steve and I were having our podcast, and he's talking about how he felt at this certain point in this long race, and he's like, yeah, my shins were bothering me, and had to like slow down a little bit, and I'm thinking, well, I got about 45 miles left. Meanwhile, he's like 60 miles or 30 miles in already. And I had to stop back and say, I walk for an hour with a weight vest every day, and I think I'm going to die when I'm done. And it's an hour, and this guy is running 100K. I mean, like, the concept is, unless you do that kind of sport, the average person just cannot grasp it.
Yeah, and like I was saying, before I did any of that, like I would have said the same thing. Like it's crazy, and I just, didn't know that people were doing that even. Like it was. But as far as you were saying, like about the videos and everything, like,
right?
I think it's how, everyone's going to receive it kind of differently. So I think if you're kind of like, you're ready to hear that message or whatever it is, like you could watch a video and maybe just one thing will speak to you, where it's like, you have to be ready though to receive that. And like, I was kind of trying to do that before, like, I was depressed before and everything, and like drinking a lot, and I knew that I was trying to like change myself and change how to do things, and I was going to that outside motivation, like trying to watch videos that kind of like spark something along with everything else. But and I just wasn't ready at the time, so it just didn't really work. And then once I kind of got over that, and I was still kind of trying to do that with getting the outside motivation, where I watch these videos again, and then I would start to hear things a little differently. Like, okay, like I should do this a little, like I should push myself a little bit more in this area. So I did find motivation that way. But
I would have to think motivation would definitely come from within.
Yeah, that's why before I wasn't ready to hear that, and then when I started to like, when I was able to like overcome that depression and everything, and kind of like really change things myself, I was using that also to like kind of push myself a little bit more, like to really go all in. So it did come from within, but I was still using that outside motivation to kind of push me a little more because I knew I needed it.
It's like an affirmation almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that. Because, like we've known each other for a while. Mm-hmm. And I remember when you first started on that, I've trained him a couple of times, just in some things. But yeah, like what made you move finally? What made you move? What point did you get that made you move?
It was just like a really low point.
The lowest.
And it was, it's going on, it went on for a long time.
Yeah.
And my wife, girlfriend at the time, she stuck with me through it, and like knew that I was like in a bad place and needed, and she also knew that I needed to figure it out for myself. Mm-hmm. So I like went through all that, and just finally hit a point where like I just had this epiphany where things just started making sense, and I was like an alcoholic at the time, and really just at my lowest point, and just was lucky to have that kind of moment of clarity where it was just like, you need to change immediately because this is bad. And then I just had like all of these thoughts about like things I needed to change, things I should do. And I was really like grateful to have that clarity because I didn't realize how bad I was when I was in it.
Right. So it took the lowest of the low.
Yeah, it was.
And you were like, I just can't go anywhere else.
Something just turned, and I was like, okay. And then I actually remember thinking like, I need to think differently. Like, I need to change. Like, I just need to like, whatever I was doing obviously wasn't working. Yeah. So I needed to just think differently. So, and like have an open mind. And I just, with that, I was like able to try new things and just kind of like really like progress fast, because I was just like, I just changed basically who I was. Just changed my thinking. Sorry.
I'm so perplexed a little bit.
Well,
though.
like did you use like visual references is what I'm saying? Like, or did you visualize yourself moving? Because that's the thing, like we're looking, right? So you can say, oh my gosh, like I see it now. You cannot be what you cannot see. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. And I was just going, that's just so funny you said that. I was going to ask, like, they say when you go on a diet, this is what I'm told. No, seriously, when you go on a diet, if you can't see yourself thin, you're not going to get there. If you can't mentally see, for me in my life, the things that really worked out well for me all through my life, which there's not a lot, but there's some. When it worked out well, there were always things that I could see myself being successful in. The guitar thing was that was a no-brainer. It was going to happen because I could see myself doing weird things in that field. Other times when it's not clear, it usually doesn't happen. And I'm a big believer in visualization, not like Oprah. I don't believe you can wish things into existence. I don't believe any of that nonsense. But I think you need to be able to see. No, you know that called the gift or whatever. What's that?
Oh my gosh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
I've never heard of that.
If you don't take action, nothing's going to happen. Oh, she's out of her mind.
Well,
sorry.
I know what she's trying to say, but I think she doesn't touch on enough about the steps that you take to get there.
Of course. Rainbows and butterflies.
Right. It's like, write it down. It'll happen.
Yeah. I mean, what they call manifest.
Manifest. Yeah, the secret or something is that.
The secret. But but you can but if you take action toward things, you can move toward anything. But you can't just, whatever. I don't want to get metaphysical.
There's a lot of steps to, you could manifest something for sure, but it's you thinking of what you want, the goal, the end result, and it's just
100%.
All the work you have to put into it.
And I think that was back to my original point. We live in a dream, in many ways, a dream society. People see things, I pick on Instagram because it just scrolls so quickly. They see stuff and they think, I'm going to go get that. It has a unique value in their head, but not really enough because they generally don't ever obtain those things because it requires work. It's really strange. It's like I was having a conversation I think you and I had one time off camera where if you take the most famous brands, because we all like brands and different things. We all do. I really believe very few minimalist people are walking the planet, but we all like things. But do you think over time brands and name brands of things are going to get decentralized and not quite as important anymore because it's like people lust to have them, but they're no longer a reward because of how fast society's moving. Like the reward that usually is the end of this long trek is being shown first without the visualization or the concept of the journey to get it. I don't know. Maybe I'm all full of shit.
But we're consumers. And
we always have been, though, right?
We have been, but again, because of the advancement in technology, and how accessible these things become to us, we see it all the time. There's knockoffs on this stuff. If someone's working at Walmart, they didn't buy the real one. They didn't buy the real one. I'm just saying. But it's the idea that I'm wearing this brand, right? And impressions, the visual, the surface. That's all we care about sometimes. Not all of us, but it becomes that way because we're just kind of doom scrolling, maybe.
Doom scrolling. That's good. Where'd you get that from?
The internet.
That's actually so. What does that actually? What does it actually mean?
It's just what's doom.
I know what doom is in rock and roll. That's fantastic. Black Sabbath, man. That's I digress. Good.
But what is it? Rooted in darkness, right?
Oh yes.
Right. Yes. So it's just this epitome of you scrolling through things, and you're just wasting your absolute time.
That's doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
Okay. Doom scrolling.
Yeah, we all do it.
Oh, yeah.
We all do it.
More than I want to.
Exactly.
On the daily.
Yeah. But we're just at the mercy of the things that we see based on our algorithm. So this computer's basically telling us what we want to see.
We could shut it off.
Yeah. It's addictive. So what happens in your brain is your serotonin levels go wild. Yeah, it's instant gratification. Well, that's what we're accustomed to seeing these days.
The designers, I think, were tapped into the video slot machine. That's who. I think those folks from Vegas came and helped design the interface for Instagram.
Maybe.
That's what I read.
For real?
Uh-huh.
I want to read that.
So they can manipulate. They learn to manipulate the mind because of how the mind reacts to a slot machine. The idea of chance, and then what's the next thing? The next thing will be better than what I'm looking at. And
But what's the payoff? What's the jackpot?
Right, kind of. I know we're all over the board here, but I get back to that.
I mean, like with the with the scrolling and everything.
Well,
like,
no. I'm the one that took us all over the board. I just really wish I had an understanding on where motivation stays today. Maybe, like you said, maybe it's the semantics of what it means. It means different things to different people.
It does, because of what your gratification is off of that. So the slot machines, you keep winning a little, you keep giving a little, right? These people are winning a little, so they keep giving and giving and giving. And that ends up being people's, I guess, like OnlyFans, like that's what they do for a living, They're getting rewarded. They're getting a good life, or what seems to be a good life, right? But your value system, we talked about this too a lot. Their value system may not align with your value system.
Yeah, that's life. That's the beauty of life.
Yeah.
Differences, for sure.
Yeah, so like that's kind of their value system, is like, let's make this money maybe, and be like very, very shallow about it maybe. Or what we would perceive as shallow maybe.
Yeah, that's everyone's individual perception. We can't say I may think it's shallow, you may think it's shallow, but the person who's generating that money for themselves doesn't think it's shallow. Right,
because maybe they come from a horrible place, and this allowed them to like get a house finally, or whatever that is, right? I don't know that it makes it good or bad. I keep telling you I'm on the fence about this, and I don't. I think if you know the system, you can play the system always. Yeah. Right?
Maybe there is no answer, good and bad. Maybe it just is, and it's how we interpret it.
Right.
You can interpret it as bad, or
because we're in our own like metaverse individually. That's each.
Oh God, here we go.
Well, that's each of our perception. We're in our own world all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So we're in our own individual metaverses.
Are we not showing the world hard work though? Are we just showing like the key?
Do people want to see that?
The results?
No.
Like,
yes.
That's the quickest way.
I think they do. There are creators that create content that show you every single step of what it takes to create whatever that is. So there are people who want to see what's it going to take to get there.
But you still want to see the end result.
Yeah. Yeah. How do I cut out steps 2 and 3?
Right. Biohacking.
Yeah.
I like to show like as much as possible. Just kind of like what I do is, running and stuff. But I'm not like an influencer or anything, but
aren't you sponsored though?
Just like a few, like ambassadorships. You get like discounts on their products and stuff. I'm not like paid sponsors.
Yeah, but Steve, I don't have that.
I
used to do that.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I mean, you could.
Could I?
Yeah. Yes.
But I'm not an athlete.
I think you still could if you apply, because they just accept.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it is. Sometimes you get something that you believe in and it makes sense to go ahead and team up.
It's all stuff I was using already, so it's like I'll get a discount.
Yeah, for sure.
And like promote them. But
Yeah, but there are a lot of athletes that do the ambassadorship that they complain that all they do is broadcast and advertise for these companies with these savings codes, and they get nothing out of it. They get the same 15% that they're broadcasting to everyone else.
And there's no way for them really you have to trust the company, the integrity of their numbers. There's no way for them to audit what they're actually bringing in.
Right. Yeah. How do you even do that? How would you do that?
Yeah, you don't really get insight on that. I think it all depends on how it's set up. So I used to do it a couple years ago. I had couple different brands that I work with, and I don't work with any of them anymore because of just that reason. Because it ends up, what do you get out of it?
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and attach who I am to whatever this brand is.
Right.
But who's to say that they're going to be representing me? I don't want to continue to put this out there if it's not something that's going to ring true down the road.
Right. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be like a good brand or someone that's, that they're not going to do stuff like that. Like
Right.
they're going to treat you right.
I mean,
too,
if Nike
so.
came to you and was like, "Hey,
If they were going to pay me or just
There you
buy
go.
my shoes at least, because those
Oh,
get
for
expensive.
sure. But I've seen like
but I'm
there's-
not going to like sell my soul. Like, oh, you need to. Every post needs to be about like no. I'll do it here and there. but I'm
Protein
not-
powder was a thing that was going around for a while in Pittsburgh here. Some of the folks that I know, good folks, they were like the ambassadors for these certain protein powders, and you look at them and you're like, I mean, you're a nice guy and all that, but you're not really someone who really works out that much. You don't look
That
like
is
you're
so
in great
interesting.
shape. Nice people.
Yeah.
Don't get me
that's
wrong.
So interesting.
But that was going on for a while, right around the time I started doing this podcast, as a matter of fact. And I wonder about, as the generations go on, like what's the idea of hard work? I mean, like not if is it valued, but like what's the idea of it? Like, I mean, in the 70s, hard work was watching my grandfather and my uncles go to the mill and sludge home, and I just knew I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. It was horrifying to see that. That was hard work. Or seeing my dad work ridiculous hours at a contracting gig. But I mean, like, the concept of hard work in the internet age, in the social media age, like, what does that actually mean? Especially after all these people started quitting their jobs, and what's this, slow quitting or something now?
Quiet quitting.
Quiet quit. I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't know what,
I don't even know about that.
what does
Yeah,
hard work
it's-
actually mean? Like, I know you know what hard work is, because to run 70K, 100K, I don't know how to describe it outside of torture. That's hard work, right?
You kind of have to fall in love with the work. Like, it doesn't just start at, like you were saying, the goals and the end result. You have to really like what you're doing in the work.
Of course.
And I mean, it helps when you see results. So it's like, oh, I'm progressing and getting better at whatever it is. So I'm going to keep putting in the work to see how good I can get at it. So that's basically where I'm at. But that's what I think with hard work, you kind of have to love the work. Like, you have to love what you're doing.
Do any of you manage anybody in your jobs? You manage people?
yeah, I have 8
I don't
people that work
I don't
for
want
me."
to put you on the spot in terms of like specific information. But,
Yeah, that's fine.
But just in terms of throughout your life, do you think you have seen the concept of work change in the public? I guess in the ether.
I don't know that I would say it's changed. I think that what people view as necessary to be, I don't want to say successful, but to achieve what they're supposed to deliver on has been greatly reduced. They no longer, they look at it and say, well, I just need to meet that bare minimum. And I'm not saying it's necessarily about the people that work for me, but I'm saying that if you look around professionally, it's how do we do less and get more?
And get
I have
more.
heard
Oh,
people
okay.
tell me
Okay.
numerous times, I put my time in. Now is my time to not slack, but kind of like lean back. Like, I no longer need to have that huge drive, and it's no longer the most important thing in my life. Whereas, like, why?
Is that a 2020 thing?
I don't know. I think maybe it is, because maybe people realized that there's more to life.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you think about it, you work to live.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to support the things that we love. And I think that maybe there is a view change. Whereas before it was, I need to work as hard as I can because I need people to see me as this successful person. And now it's, we still care what other people think, but we no longer necessarily need it as much as we did. I need to make sure I have this one life. So how do I live this one life and work as little as I possibly can
That's a thing now.
and make an incredible amount of money?
well, again,
Yeah.
isn't that? Oh man, I'll get slag for this, but to me, that's kind of the lie of social media. That whole thing you just said.
It can be, but for a lot of people, they hack the system. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
I
don't
agree
know
with
a
this
lot.
100%.
So, and what I'm
when you
saying
say
about
a lot of people, the
Yes.
very small minority of
it doesn't
the people.
matter. Take who's on the internet versus who is not. It's not complete numbers, so you're still just getting a snapshot, but it's a very high percentage, Eric. It really is.
Well, what they're showing is not reality. It's their reality, but it's not. It isn't. If everybody was doing that,
but we're in our own individual metaverse. We are. Your algorithm is different than mine. It will not show me things like that you would see.
Yeah.
So again, like we're within our own, and a lot of people capitalize on that now. They create lifestyles out of it. Like I'm trying to think. It was one of the guys from like Joe Rogan and On It. Aubrey Marcus. Do you know Aubrey Marcus? Do you know Aubrey Marcus?
Yeah.
You probably heard of him.
Yeah.
So he used to be on like the On It team.
Yep.
And then like maybe he did like some UFC fights maybe. And then he sort of pivoted completely the opposite way. And now he makes like binaural beats and like throws concerts and like locks himself in like caves. Do you know what I'm saying? So he threw that sort of market, and On It is huge. Joe Rogan is huge, and then he went and pivoted, but he utilized his own audience and like made it bigger. And literally, he just like lives in Costa Rica or something very good with his girlfriend / wife or whatever, and then he holds these like summits at Costa Rica. That's his life. Do you know what I'm saying? So he made that work for him based on his audience.
I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's the vast minority of the human race that actually can
the level,
hit the quote-unquote jackpot.
Right, the level that he's achieved is sort of... But people's levels are kind of all different, right? This would suffice for me if I lived in a tiny home in the mountain, right? Right.
So is the dream like for people to look at social media and say, "I wish I was doing that"? It's like the song in the '80s by the Dire Straits, "Money for Nothing," right? Money for nothing, get your chicks for free, because it was like how these guys were moving stuff in the song, moving furniture, and there's a guy playing guitar on the television, and the assumption was he's wealthy and getting laid every day. That was the assumption,
right?
But I mean, is it the same thing, just 24/7 pounded into our heads?
No, because it takes a lot of hard work, regardless of what it looks like. It may look like he has the perfect life,
right? But we don't know that.
We have no idea. We don't know what goes on in the day to day. We don't know what all the heavy lifting that goes into it.
It's just what they show.
It is. It's just what they show.
Right.
So you ask the question: do people no longer want? Do we not know what hard work is anymore? I think we do know what hard work is. Okay. Well, there was a post the other day, and I can't remember who posted it, but it might have been a TikTok. Someone was sitting in front of their desk and said that they were made to go into the office. This is something that's very new for me. So, we've all been working remote. Okay. Now everyone is being asked to go back to the office.
Right.
And they're saying, my boss, I have to act like I can't get my work done in 2 hours. Like, so they're literally just clicking all over the screen, doing nothing, because when you worked from home, they had the ability to condense everything that they needed to get done into a 2-hour period, and then they would do whatever they wanted to do.
This is Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
This is Tim Ferriss.
The 3-hour work week.
Yeah, this is Tim Ferriss.
That's like 15 years ago.
But he takes this isn't new. He takes this from like the Netherlands or something like that. I was reading a book on exactly this just out of serendipity, and then you messaged me. So like they're taking this European concept, right? And they're trying to like make this a whole, like for everyone, where you only work 25 hours a week. That's it.
I think it's great. The problem is that the average American worker doesn't put anything close to a 40-hour weekend. You might be putting in time. I mean, I was guilty. I worked in an office environment. I was pretty good at what I did. And because I was good at what I did, I knew how to get promoted with working like 16 hours a week and looking like I was working 40.
Well, the people who work for me definitely give me more than 40 hours. There's no doubt. But I don't know that you can. Back it up a little bit. So you do 2 hours and you get your job done. What would happen if you did put in 40 hours? Okay. So you don't really know what you could
do. Bug and leave the company.
Right.
Well, you don't know what you can achieve. You truly don't know what you can achieve. So we have these people who have, they figured it out. They've said, I can do everything that I need to do in 2 hours and do whatever else I want. So why not get to entrepreneurial bug? Why not do it?
Right.
Why not do your own thing?
Right.
Well, it's hard work.
Most jobs nowadays are sort of like they're going to become automated.
Yeah.
Like, you
You
know how
AI is taking over, eh?
It's gonna.
it is. It already has. You can ask AI to create the show for you in like a script and everything. But that's what I'm saying is like that all these jobs that people hold honestly are formality, right? It's formality. Well, maybe not your job. You actually like have to help people. Like you are imperative for us. Maybe not me, you know, maybe, I don't know. You find people homes. That's like an important thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, in our society, it's important, but is it like life or death important?
Is it automated? Can you automate it?
I
Eventually,
hope-
we
I
will.
hope they can't.
We're never going to automate you ever.
Ain't gonna automate me either. I'm gonna go kicking and screaming.
I'm okay if they automate me. I am. Why do I care? I don't care. What? Let's work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Well, what
Like-
if they automate
Or have
you?
a good
They don't-
life.
They don't
Like-
want to pay you anymore.
What if money wasn't a thing?
Okay.
Right? What would you do? Whatever the hell you wanted. You could do anything. If money wasn't a thing and you can go anywhere and do anything, you would do all kinds of things. But that is a major vehicle for people. It's a major vehicle for people.
Well, we need it.
We
okay?
need it, right?
We have
Because
to
our
have it.
society tells us that's what we need to get.
Right.
That's just what it is. That's society.
How much of our consuming is what other people are telling us we need to own?
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
Me
I'm
too.
absolutely
Or
guilty.
we can't help it. We're just human beings.
We can't help it though. We
Can
choose
we?
not to.
Why
Like,
do I
look,
wanna?
When I started
I
this
don't
podcast, I mean, I had the materialism bite thing. I had to have these exact mics. Why? Because they were the best, and Joe Rogan using it. If Rogan were using them, it must be the best. And I did all my research, and they were the most expensive. But you know what? I bought them. I didn't need these mics. I could have got probably a third of the price doing something else. But I was convinced based upon what I was told. And what did I do? I just capitulated, and I bought them. I'm guilty. And that's one example out of a billion in my life that I do that, right?
But like, are you ashamed of that?
I'm not ashamed of it, but I mean, I realize that I'm manipulated. Yeah, I realize
But
it.
it's
you're just a
also
human.
and it's something that is going to help you do what you want to do. It's not like frivolous spending on something. It's
But it
something
was
that's-
frivolous stuff.
What I mean, it's
I
still for a
wasted
good cause.
money.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's-
ultimately, yes. It was for the goal, but you talked about no money, like there's no currency. So do we? You know, let's go there. So, what besides money is currency in our society?
Power?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about something that's really obvious? When I say it, you're going to be like, oh, of course. Because I'm not that bright. I didn't make it up. I read it. What about likes on social media? Isn't that a form of currency in our society? Sadly so.
I can't
I'm not
spend
saying-
it anywhere.
No, not in theory. But there's a portion of the population that must believe they can because there's a desire to
There's
obtain it
people
at any
that need
cost.
them, but
Right? I mean,
you don't really.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
don't
there's
need
services
likes.
that'll. When I first started the show, I was inundated with people that wanted to sell me likes on the page, like your Facebook page. We'll get you 5,000 likes in a month for the. I'm like,
Because it drives your content and it opens you up. It's a business thing.
that's what I was told would happen. But now we're at like 10,000 likes on the page, and I still don't get any likes because no one uses Facebook business pages generally, anyways.
Oh.
But I'm saying it's like it
Facebook's about
doesn't.
to come into a new wave. Just hold on.
You have an inside scoop there.
I don't exactly, but there's a big controversy on TikTok, right? Are we going to be able to access the TikTok?
Oh yeah,
The TikToks?
I think they're
No.
gonna ban it.
So they're going to, right. So what's it going to shift to? What's it going to shift
The
to?
remaining services.
Right. So Facebook is slept on. Everybody says, well, like, my parents have that. Why would I have that? Right.
know, I hear that all
but
the time.
everybody's going to jump back on because there's these
If they're
Facebook
smart,
marketplaces.
if they're smart, if
Yeah.
Facebook's smart about how they,
And you could do pictures, you could do video, you could have everything just on that one place. So it's gonna hit again.
I agree. You see it with the reels.
Yeah.
So reels never used to be a big thing. It was all, Instagram, you would have Instagram started it, the reels, okay? But it's a competition. What is it in competition with? TikTok. That's what it is.
because they own it. Because Facebook owns Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. mhm.
Yeah, they talk to
So
each
now-
other. Yeah.
Yeah, the reels are on Facebook now, so it's all
Yeah, so think about it. Now it's going to capture like your mom. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what they want. They
Yeah.
want more eyes. So that's what I'm saying. There's going to be a resurgence in like these like younger kids. I'm talking about probably like 20-year-olds maybe.
That's why they want to try to change the name. I think the Facebook name will go away. It's going to be Meta.
Yeah.
They're going to
Yeah.
embrace that name. And they're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
they're
all gonna be
mainstream-
Meta.
They're going to
All
mainstream
of
that.
it is.
I think so.
Yeah, it's not going to be all these little different like individual like Facebook, Twitter. It's all going to be one.
But likes are currency, wouldn't you say?
It
At least
will-
the illusion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will be more so like down the line for sure. Because it's like now that we live within this metaverse, right? We can get paid from it now. Think about it.
Think about views though. Okay. So a like is almost, you're tracking a view. Okay. We know that there's a person who saw your content. They liked your content and they liked it. Okay. You can monetize it, which is why people do it. So you want to be able to see that visually. Where am I at? So you have 10,000 people on your page, but we're not seeing the algorithm work for us in a way that
Right.
allows you to send out that video to everyone.
Right.
Okay. So the trick is to find out how do you harness the algorithm? How do you use it to, what do we post at a different time per day? This is the subject that we're talking about. These are the words that we say. And suddenly it gets picked up and then it goes viral. And that's the way that it works. So the like eventually gets you there. So I agree with you. I think the likes are currency.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you're saying it may just be the start of the process.
It is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need likes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes people think, oh, they're relevant because they got 28,600 likes. Damn. Okay. They have something to say.
So I'm going to like that. And then maybe that person follows me.
Yeah.
And that makes me important because they have
That's what Instagram's
10,000
built on.
10,000 views, 10,000 likes. And now that person follows me. So I'm important.
Yeah. I've fangirled before on these like very high level coaches that if I say something dumb like fire emoji ×3, right? All the fire, they're like, thanks, coach. And then I start to weep a little bit. The fact that they recognize that I was a coach. Like sees like. And I kind of like, that really hits my brain. And I'm like, okay, now you have a fan in me. And I got you. I'm going to promote you.
That just seems like so much work.
It's really not though. I'm looking at it, but I'm learning too. That's the other thing is that the people that I follow, I'm actually like learning from, because like, the strength and conditioning community is actually quite small, right? And you tend to see the same thing over and over again. Now they're looking at trends, right? In the sports science space.
Well, you're trying to stay relevant within
You
your
try to
space.
stay
Yeah.
relevant, so then you stick with the group of people that like are almost outliers, and then you help them with the message by utilizing their content or like their
Got it.
programming and this and that, and they're like, oh my gosh, like look at my athletes. Same thing, great result, we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all for me anyway. Again, I have a different set of like values. I talk about this a lot. So I proceed the way that I do based on aligning with my value system. So mine isn't like monetized.
Got it.
It's not like money is not even on that list.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that actually. I just assume that the money will come eventually.
Yeah.
like you're saying with the algorithm, like the more you like certain things, the more you're going to see of it. So it's like you're surrounding yourself with more of what you're interested in.
In my
So,
metaverse.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm trying to gear up to that shift somehow, and I don't know what it's going to look like, but I've been reading a lot and looking at a lot of different content, and it looks to me as if like TikTok will become obsolete because of its like political
I think they're going to ban it.
right, because we're about to go to war maybe. I don't know
about all that, but
Okay,
I think
thank God.
But I think that there's been signs from, and it seems like there's some kind of consensus from all political sides that there's ways that the Chinese Communist government, who supposedly has their fingers in TikTok, they're able to see into our society a little in an uncomfortable way. I
Right.
think. I don't know. I'm just
Right.
Reading what I see.
Right.
Maybe, who knows?
Who knows? I feel like it's a freedom of speech thing, though. So I don't know how within these United States they're going to allow that to happen ultimately if it
But
goes...
it's not an American company, though. That's
yeah.
the thing. If it was
Right,
an
if
American
it-
company,
right.
I think that they'd have a real problem.
Right.
But-
So that's where you're going to see the shift in Facebook. That's where you're going to see the
So you're
shift
saying,
in...
okay.
I'm telling you, it's going to be like one... You're going to have access to everything in one
Well,
spot.
imagine the day that thing gets shut off. Like, are they going to shut it off like one day and it's just gone? Or are they going to say, hey, at the end of the month, it's going to be shut off and give creators time to move their content? Like, how's that going to work?
Mass
What's that gonna look
hysteria.
like?
Right.
What's that going to look like? I mean,
Right.
that's going to be... But in the end, if people are really, like, just so torn up about it, it's almost like if you take a step back and look at that, it's like, what
This
the
is
fuck
ridiculous.
are we doing?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, in the big picture.
Yeah, it's almost like an augmented reality that we're about to live in. But we're going to still have our own reality, like our own like physical reality. It's just going to shift into this like virtual space. And it's going to allow it. I know, isn't it insane?
Oh, I'm not
That line's going to
disagreeing
get blurred a
with
little
you.
bit.
It's going to get so
Yeah.
blurry. I'm telling you, in the next 5 years, you could play this back. This is like
We-
physical
oh,
evidence.
We will.
I know, and you're going to be like, holy hell, AIM.
You're chomping to say something over there.
No, I don't know
Yeah,
how
say
you
it.
can limit a company based upon who owns them or
Right.
where they're based. I mean,
Yeah.
that right there is a slippery slope.
Well, they've already been doing it. The government allows what they wanted to allow, and look at our healthcare system.
But this is so public. This is every single American is plugged into this.
I'm not.
Okay. I'm not
either.
either.
Yeah,
but
I'm not a TikToker.
But 100 million are.
I'll be
So-
damned. I know.
when you look at our kids, okay, and I say my son probably spends hours a day. I mean, is it really going to affect him that much? No, but I think that it's going to be significantly noticeable. What are we doing here?
For a while until they merge to something
Right.
else.
They'll shift it.
But they're not going to go to Instagram or
Well,
Facebook.
You don't think?
No.
Well, the reels.
no.
All you care about is the reels. The reels should be able to be like transferable somehow. You see them on
maybe they'll
Instagram.
do that.
You see them on Instagram, do you not?
Yeah, but
Do you
my
see them
kids-
on
yeah.
Instagram?
My kid's not even on Instagram. I mean, he is, but they don't.
It doesn't
They don't use
matter.
it. They don't post it.
If
TikToks
They-
will
someone
be on it,
shares,
yeah.
right?
yeah, TikTok.
It's all crossing
It'll be on
platforms.
Instagram,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. The cross,
It's a slippery slope.
right?
That's
But the
a
crossing of
slippery slope.
platforms is on the horizon.
Wasn't that in
really
Ghostbusters?
is.
Don't cross the street.
Oh, that's definitely going to happen. There's no doubt. You can see it.
This is really good. You guys are doing a great job. I expected that, though. I expected that.
Expectations.
Okay, so yeah,
I have none.
great expectations. Yeah, I've learned over the course of my life better if you never have any.
Right.
Just let things evolve.
Right.
Let's talk about reality. Let's go off the deep end a little bit. Well, you knew it was going to happen. She's driving here going, he says he wants to talk about motivation and overcoming, but
I
I
know.
know it's never going to, by the time we're done, we're going to be talking about like aliens or something. That's not where I'm headed. Maybe. Well, maybe. It's up to you.
Aliens are real.
There's no doubt. In my world, in my reality. So this is what an older person like me thinks is wrong with society today. You want to hear like, don't get off my lawn moment?
Yes.
This is where it scares me. It's like this is real. This stuff, us talking, although we're all in our own realities because they're unique to us, we are here doing a physical conversation. That is one kind of reality. From prior generations, that was known as reality. But now it's only one kind of reality, because the other side of reality is the virtual world, in the screen, on the media platforms, interacting with each other, oftentimes very coarsely. What are we doing? Like, this is insane. Am I right? Is that actually, this is just part of reality now? The physical world is just part of reality. And here we are doing a physical conversation in this reality, broadcasting it out on the ether. So I'm guilty. But it's like, this is not the reason I bring up this diatribe was 12, 13 years ago, it was between marriages. I was divorced second time. I went out into this sphere to date. 2010-ish. Thank God it didn't last long. But I was noticing that the virtual world of dating, Match.com or eHarmony or some bullshit I was on, the virtual experience was just as valuable to some as the physical meeting and the dating and all the stuff that went with that. And I was a fish out of water. I was like, I cannot relate to this. Like, I'm not saying the right things in text messages. No one wants to talk on the phone because that's too close to a real experience. My point was, that was my first taste of where we were headed. Never in my wildest imaginations could I have imagined 13 years later it's grown into this. But am I all wet? Am I just imagining it? Or is the virtual world as important as the physical world today? Or is it even more important now? Like, where are we in 2023?
Well, like, as humans, you need that physical reality no matter what. That's like what makes you human. We thrive within communities, like we always have. We always needed to, our village needed to come together or whatever so that we could survive all year round, right? So we need people around us. But what this, like, virtual reality has given us is the ability to pick and choose maybe who our intimate relationships are with and who they're not with. It's still a part of our reality, right? Because you deal with a lot of crap on the internet, right? That's a part of your reality.
We all do, right?
Sure. It's a part of your reality, but then, like, your individual, like your personal relationships then become more fostered and more important to you. So that's just how you've shifted because of your own experience, right? But there are people where you can reach a whole mass of people that you never thought you could reach and have maybe like a positive spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who's to say that that's not equally as important? Like, people are saying, oh, like, you've helped me through X, Y, and Z, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, I don't think the reach is the problem. I think it's the fact that I think a portion of the population may be confusing the two realities.
Mm.
And I think, all of us were raised without it, and we saw the shift. So, younger kids now, they're raised with all of it available. So it's kind of like more common for them to kind of escape reality a little bit and kind of, you don't want to deal with somebody, you pull out your phone, and I think that's a lot more common. I'm not saying it should be, but
I had a father-son podcast on here, and it was very interesting. Rocco Koza had his son, I had my son, and we talked about dating, and I think they were a little uncomfortable, but they did a great job. But Rocco, our mouths were agape because I could not believe the lack of personal connection in the process of dating today at that age. Is that right, or is it wrong, or what are you saying?
No, I think it's something that they have to deal with. They no longer have real relationships, so they'll have real relationships with each other when they're in a school setting, whenever they're all in the physical, okay? And then when you go home, they interact in the virtual world. And I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I know it's where they live. And almost all of their time is spent in a virtual world, whether it's gaming, So now you no longer talk to people they do talk, though. I will say that. It's not a text. You're not sitting there on a computer typing. Okay. You're not texting.
That's positive.
They have headphones on, and they're not great conversations, no. Okay? But at least it's, they're interacting. Now, dating, I remember when one of my sons was online chatting, just a couple years ago, and that was they were dating. Mm-hmm. They weren't really dating. They'd never met each other. They'd never had a conversation with each other. Eventually they did do video chats or whatever that was. But how do you really know? That's the way that I look at it. How do you really know a person if you don't get to experience them physically? Mm-hmm. Can I really trust what you say, or is it something that's made up for the virtual? So you don't ever really know that. Mm-hmm. But do we ever really know that in the physical world?
Because we evolve all the time, kind of.
Well, not just because we evolve all the time. It's we present ourselves in a way where we think other people will accept us socially.
Right.
In the virtual world, you don't even really have to so much do that. We can just say, this is who I am. Deal with it. And then your people find you. Or you find your people.
I know. It's like, it's make-believe to me. It's like not always, but it's the ability to have make-believe in my life. And I can legitimize it. It's real.
I think it's about like being in the moment too. Like we're here all together talking.
But are we?
Are we really?
No, we're not.
But yeah, when you're, you have access to a phone or whatever, and you're not really taking in whatever you're doing. If you're on Instagram scrolling,
100%.
you're in your own world.
You're not. It's the present, the actual present, is we're losing that moment. It's getting skewed and blurred. Well, I'm present. I'm interacting on, I don't know, some game, right? Because they talk to each other. They're having, there's something's happening, so they're bonding in that regard, and they're having, but it's in a virtual setting.
This is where we're going.
Yeah.
It is. This is the direction.
Can't stop it.
This is. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, though.
No.
I just think it's the natural progression of evolution.
Right.
This is what AI. Does AI really change anything, or is it just tracking our algorithm? Is it?
It's learning our
It's
algorithm.
learning who we
Unless
are.
it kills us.
That's
It kills us. It definitely changed something.
Yeah, but
it takes over.
we kill each other. Okay.
Right. Yeah, we do the same
Not
thing.
all at one time.
Right.
But it's all like the progression of
It's the
technology.
Terminator.
It's just in all aspects. I mean, electric cars, everything. Like some of it's good, and it's just everything is evolving technologically. And
But like there will people that will resist this. That's just like that's just
God.
human nature. There will be those people always.
living on farms or in a bunker.
Well, yeah,
If you want to do that, you'll do that.
Right. You will be free to do that. You
We're
will be
always free. We just tend to go with we all tend to progress. We generally progress together.
right. Well,
Generally.
Yeah. Well, you will have your group that will progress with you. It may not be as great as, but you will have that always. That will never be taken away from you, I think.
You may move to a different social group.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You'll find your social group. It's the same.
It's the same.
It is.
Okay.
It's just there's
Virtual
layers.
reality mirrors physical reality.
Right.
Eventually, we make it to the same exact place.
Right. This is the metaverse. There could be a bunch of us like in different, like I could look like me, but a cartoon version of me, right? Right?
It's
in this metaverse, it's still me.
We've all done it.
No, it's not. It's not you.
But it's my cartoon.
It's right
Avatar.
in this cartoon world we live in. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
20 years ago, there'd be no audience for most podcasts. None. Zero. Why do people watch other humans that they don't know on topics that probably weren't, they just discovered, and buy in and watch conversations? We're watching other people talk physically in person. And my argument is that the reason that's happening is because it doesn't fucking happen in real life anymore. It's strange to see two human beings looking at each other and having conversation. It doesn't happen. It's like the zoo. It's almost like, look what they're doing. Oh, what is that? Who does that? They're in the same room. They're talking and looking at each other. Like, is that really where we are? Or is that not too far from where it's going to be in another 4 or 5 years? Is it that rare? I don't know. This used to be what we did every day of our lives.
Can I
At
tell
the
you
school
that
bus.
there's a coffee
right?
shop you would like. It's called Centered Coffee and Wellness. It's in Shadyside. I'm not kidding you. I love this place.
No
they have
electronics.
They're like, you will not bring your laptops here.
Yeah.
And there's like books that you can read, and it's very small, the space.
But I'm not anti-technology.
But
I'm not.
but this is an outlier. This is an outlier. I'm not saying that you can't bring your phone in or anything like that, but they encourage you to interact with whoever's in there. So usually like the barista that's there is like very like they want to have a conversation with you. Everything is slowed down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing.
You would love this place.
That's the thing
Everything is slowed down. So, like if I'm going to Centered Coffee, I got to, take a good 10 minutes because like I'm going to have a conversation here. They're going to like cater to me.
They're actually going to talk to me as a human being.
It's fantastic. So I go there sometimes in the morning when I'm feeling like I need to like decompress almost before I compress for the rest of the day. And I actually have like a really good conversation because I'll be like, you guys have colostrum drinks. And like... I like that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm surrounding myself with those kinds of people and I'm deliberately seeking that interaction. It doesn't matter how quick it is, I still get it. My humanity is based off of that, is connecting with people, even if it's virtually. Now we are in the same room, but I'm sure we will connect virtually again. Right? There's nothing wrong with this. We can still dip back into that personal interaction and we can have very deep conversations.
It's
but
sad
typically,
to me it exists, though. It's sad to me podcasting. I'm happy it exists.
Yeah.
But I look at it.
I think what Eric was saying, too, it's crazy that those places that you're talking about are rare.
Right.
And it's like...
Right.
Yeah. Most places aren't like that.
Yeah.
Now.
Ask yourself, though, how difficult would it be to do your job if you didn't have technology and you couldn't communicate the way that you communicate?
Pretty tough.
How long would it take?
A lot longer.
Right. So how many clients do you think you could work with on a weekly basis if you didn't have the ability to send a text, send an email?
Like 1/8 of what I can. Yeah, you're right.
So is it just we're becoming more efficient? Technology is allowing us to become more efficient.
I think it has.
There are definitely negative aspects to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's more efficient for sure. And I think as someone who tries to embrace technology and try not to have an archaic look at the progress of life, I just think that we're losing part of our humanity with some of the elements of technology. And
for sure.
And I think that's where screens are replacing flesh. And that doesn't mean to sound seedy. I'm just saying it really... I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid.
I really don't. But in talking to my daughter, my son, I love them to death, and they just really well-adjusted, good kids. But that the physical interaction does not hold the same value with them. Like they don't think it's that important to be in the same room with their friends, because being in that virtual moment with them is just as valid. They don't see any differential about what's more real or less real or better or worse. It's just
it's not necessary.
They don't value it. And isn't that okay? So
it's
again, old guy in a room, but isn't that sad to you?
That it's not necessary? No
way,
because
to physically spend any time with any other humans.
Well, Steve and I connected originally through Instagram or something like that.
You used it as a tool, but I'm saying if it replaces the human experience,
that wasn't my intent. That was never my intent.
A tool, but
that was never.
Like we were saying before, when you're, as far as like Instagram and everything, like surrounding yourself with like-minded people or people that will help motivate you, and like whatever it is, your profession and everything, you're surrounding yourself with people that are, a lot of times doing better than you, and you kind of like need the motivation or whatever, but things that just help you, or people, that inspire you. So that's like, I think how we found each other is just like seeing inspirational people, and it's like, that person, I want to be around these people. Like you kind of, I think that's a plus about the
and like
the
it's up to you. Like I could have not been tangible to you, right? I had a choice in that matter. Same thing with you. I could have not been tangible to you, but I was open and I was willing to hear the thing, right? And that's the thing. I think that's my being, is I'm sort of open to whatever. I'm willing to hear people out, regardless of how ridiculous it sounds. I want to know why you think these things, right? Or why you sought me out. That's really important. It's really vulnerable. Yeah. And I recognize that as a human, whether it's through the internet or not. There's still that element of humanity within that existence. It's just virtual at that point. It's just not necessary. Yeah. It's not that it's not valued. I think that that's different. It's just not necessary as much, because our reach is, sometimes we don't even understand our reach, right?
Okay, let me ask you this. You might be able to answer this one. So, it's not valued because it's not necessary. But what about the expense to interpersonal skills and how that is required, at least somewhat, I guess, today, still in the workplace? Like, do you see younger folks stunting their interpersonal skills, stunting the growth of their ability to understand business, enter into business, work in teams when it's required to physically be with other members of the human race? I mean, how does that all unpack?
I think that we're finding people are still good at working in teams. I don't necessarily think that's something that's going away, but every single one of the people who work for me personally are remote. We don't go into a physical office. And when I do go into the office, I go with members of another team, not my own.
Okay.
So they're all used to working independently. And a lot of them have worked independently for 10, 15 years.
Okay.
They haven't been in an office. What I'm seeing, though, and it's not just the people that work for me, but it's the people that I interact with. A piece of the way that we communicate is lost. We no longer need to be polite. Everything is extremely direct. You've lost that empathy, the things that I believe that we learn in a physical interaction with each other. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say something that's mean or super direct, because if you're standing in front of me, I might have to deal with that consequence. Whereas in virtual reality, you maybe don't need to do that as much. So you may say things that are more direct. I have seen emails that have made me cringe in business. This isn't something that's in a personal relationship. This is a business relationship coming from...
Well, hasn't texting kind of unfortunately infiltrated email? I mean, email used to be a formal way of communicating.
We don't even use whole words anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything is an abbreviation.
Emojis.
Prepositions have gone out the window.
I asked myself the other day, and I was sending an email to someone and thought to myself, are we eventually going to get to the point where we just send emojis?
In
Hieroglyphics.
Yes. We're reverting back to hieroglyphics.
Back to the caveman.
Yeah.
Yes. We're reverting back to pictures.
It's a hybrid system though, because it evokes emotions without us even having to say the thing. So like birthday party, right? Like that emoji, I use that constantly. It doesn't matter if it's somebody's birthday or not. I'm using it because you know what I mean. Like, yay, yay,
Yeah.
party.
Yeah, I think it has. I think, like to your point, moderation, it has its place and all that. It's part of an effective system. Man,
there's a balance to things, right? And we're at a tipping point for a lot of people where they've tipped through all the way, say, to the meta side. Yeah. And like, how do they come back from that? We don't know the social ramifications until they happen. There's books out there called Radical Candor. We have to read about talking to people and like what's acceptable these days. So someone came out with that book. It's actually a really good book.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah. But it allows for that space because like some doctor, studied it. And this is the time that we're in. This is what it's presented.
What hurts is when I look back on my life, it's the conversations I've had with all these people throughout my life and all these places, sometimes in romantic relationships, but usually just in friendships or family or new acquaintances. It's the conversations that build the most joy. If I had to write that book out, it's the conversations that that's the tapestry of joy in my life. And I feel that idea, as we move forward in time, for other generations will not be valued that way. It might not be valued that way now. So people looking in, watching us have a conversation, is going to look 10 years from now, someone goes and finds this on YouTube or runs into it, it might look like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah, like they could have done that virtually.
Yeah, they're all in the same room together. Like, they might get COVID. Like what So it's a different. It's hard for me to grasp. Now, hold on. As a guy in his mid-30s, I found this new thing called the internet, and I built a guitar business on it from day one. And everyone around me thought I was insane. I'm like, hey, I'm talking to people in Idaho, and I'm shipping them my guitar. Everybody thought I was insane. because I get it. I understand the connectivity. I got it right away. It's just that where we are today, the virtual part of it is so important in our lifestyle, and that gives me cause for pause. That's where my angst might be coming from.
I think nothing's ever going to replace good conversation, though.
Yeah, never.
In the
Or like your
virtual world, like,
family.
yeah, just like talking with someone, if you have a
Physical
good conversation,
contact. That's
yeah.
like a love language too. So like if
Oh, is that getting diminished?
love languages,
Like, just, I mean, I'll go there.
I
Like,
don't think so.
is the concept of like human connection, sexualities, all that stuff? Do you think that is on its way out? Is sex being de-emphasized as an important part of life? I mean, that's a big stretch, I know, but is it in 2023 and we're headed? Is it like not?
there will be
I don't
that.
know. I don't know.
There will be that because people sometimes can't make that physical connection.
Aha, and why can't they?
There could be so many reasons, right?
But what did the people that couldn't have the physical connections 30 years ago do?
What did they do?
They took medicine.
They were locked up, weren't they? They were like in crazy homes and stuff, right?
Think about it. There's no way. Robots, it's the next thing.
Oh, they're already there.
I know.
They're already there. Isn't there a robot dog
like
on
old-
CMU's campus or something like that,
Yeah.
chasing the geese away?
Yeah.
I think they unveiled that like last week.
Nice.
It's like the police dog now or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to stand in the way of progress. I don't want to be that guy. I just the lack of human connectivity scares the shit out of me.
For sure. We should all be concerned with that, but shouldn't we shift our value systems back into the other way as well, just so that we as humans are balanced? See, that's the thing that's like, that's going to be radical. It'll shift back where it'll be radical and people will want that again. So having a conversation, renting a human, have you seen this? At a library? At a library? Do you know this?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you
But
can
I'm
like
so
rent a
interested.
person. Yeah, you can rent a person and have a conversation with them for like 2 hours or whatever it is.
So now you can get paid for that.
Right,
I
you could
might
get
have-
paid
I
right
might
up
have
your
a new-
alley.
Yeah.
I might have a
I would
new-
rent you for a good hour
I'm
with
expensive.
espresso shots. No, it's through the library. I have a card.
Well,
You know
that's
what I'm
not
saying?
Money. I got to
I'm serious.
privatize this and
It's
figure
like
out
a
way to
book.
monetize
It's
it.
like a human.
It's like a human book.
It's a
Weren't
human
weren't
book.
ladies
Yeah.
cuddling for money? Remember
Yes.
that cuddling
Oh, yeah.
thing was a thing?
Yeah.
See, that's where people are losing their physical touch because they don't know how to possess it. So they have to rent someone to come snuggle them. And they make a lot of money to snuggle.
They should.
Baby spoon.
Can you
big
imagine?
spoon.
I've seen some of those
So
people.
many different.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't imagine. No, that's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
I just, again, talking to two 20-year-olds like
Mm-hmm.
Rocco and I did, my eyes were open because I was projecting, like, if this trend continues, what's it going to be like 10 years, 20 years from now? And they, like, the dating thing of them, you know, they're both in big universities. And I said to my son, I go, well, what if there's a group of, let's say you're at Pitt and the class lets out and you're going to the same class, and every time it lets out, there's a group of people, and you see this one girl you're attracted to her, she seems like, you know, nice person. Why would you be afraid to go and just like introduce yourself? And they was like, shut, that's not how it's done. And I'm like, oh, okay, so can you find out her number? Can you call her? And he goes, well, no one calls anybody. I'm like, okay, can you text her? Well, you know, if she doesn't like me, her and her friends will put me on blast, and I don't want to deal with all that drama. I'm like, wait, what? And the other one sitting there said, oh, absolutely. They were completely in agreement. And these are two good-looking, perfectly normal kids. Socially, they seem like they're socially fine. But it was that disconnect of being like cyberbullied, I guess, is part of it, you know? Maybe.
Yeah, like the repercussion of just simply talking to
there
someone.
was I mean, I used to ask a girl, and she said no. I used to dread having to go home and sulk in the corner and feel like a waste of human life. That was
Rejection.
part of like a preteen life that you had
Yeah.
to deal with, right? That's not. It just. To
It's
me,
on a mass scale of rejection because one person is tied to their social media following, and if you say, "Hey, this guy did me wrong" or "this girl did me wrong," then you're going to have
on blast.
yeah, then you're going to have
I'm
an
just gonna ask
entire
her for a
army.
date. I said, you're just going to ask her
I
for a date. If
know.
she says no, will you go on blast? Maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
See, I would think the other way. Like, wouldn't he stand out in a positive way to her? Because it's like
I tried
the one
to
guy
I
that
tried
came
to
up
sell
to me
that,
and
man.
like,
I tried to sell that concept. Trust
Yeah.
me. I
What?
mean,
if you have, in reality, how many people do you have access to in your circle?
No, I don't know. I mean, what people I choose to humanly interact with, or
that
20?
Care about what you think.
10?
Okay.
It went down significantly.
Maybe
Right.
5.
That's probably less.
So the fear comes in because on social media, you have hundreds of thousands of people, and those people have hundreds of thousands of people. And it's no longer your 10 people that care about what you think. It's now everyone.
Yeah.
Do they really care? I mean,
Think about it. If everyone turned on you and said, can you believe so-and-so came out and asked someone else? And now everyone knows. Whereas before it was limited to the 10 people
Bingo.
you know.
Bingo.
Now everyone knows. It's total visualization. I said that wrong. Visualization of what is going on. You can no longer hide things anymore. You can no longer say this didn't happen. It did happen.
Right.
Someone's got a screenshot of it and they're going to plaster it all over the place. That fear is now there. What do? So I can understand why they don't want to walk up to the girl, or you have to follow certain social norms.
Well, how is anyone going to be able to connect with anybody anymore if they can't, if they're afraid to talk
Yeah,
to
it's
them?
tough. Like this gym culture too, with it's like Joey Swoll. Do you guys know who Joey Swoll is?
Yes.
Okay, so Joey Swoll, he's like a really nice guy. I think.
I think so too.
I don't agree with everything that he says, but I think that he's doing like a good service out there. And he talks about conventional gyms and how you have a lot of people that tape themselves at the gym, and a lot of people get offended if you walk in their like camera shot. It's because it's interrupting like what their content is going to be, but you're in a public area, so he has to remind people like you are in public at a gym that everybody pays for. Just because you set up a camera doesn't give you the
Absolutely.
right to over anyone
Go do it in
else.
your garage, small privacy.
Yeah.
Right.
Home gym.
Right. So he does explain this to people like, you need to understand X, Y, and Z. So there's where that like social cue has kind of gone out the window. But don't you know who I am comes into play. And, people are like, well, no. You know what I mean? So they get slapped down a little bit, but then they have this army of people that follow them, and they will like berate people for like walking in.
I see what you're saying.
Walking in eyesight. It happens all the time. Like I film sometimes, right? It's sort of dropped off the planet only when I'm like able to, right? If there's like a low number, if like,
you're by yourself.
kind of, right? There's not a lot of people around because I don't want other people to feel uncomfortable with what I'm doing or what I'm presenting. So I try to wait to make sure there's no one behind me, but then I'd be waiting forever and ever sometimes. So I do it anyway, but I'm not showing them, I'm showing me. But on the back end, I'm also showing them. So if it comes down the line, because, like Pittsburgh's small, if I, use certain hashtags, someone could find this and then they could put me on blast. Like take that video down of me in the background, doing like, I don't know, something dumb, pull downs, lat pull downs. I'm just kidding. But do you know what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
So I have to consciously think this, but like that in itself right there, that is that like reality that we have, that we always like, there's cameras everywhere here right now, everywhere.
Yep.
So constant watch. So tread lightly or not. There's going to be people that know us that want to see us and hear what we have to say. Or maybe they don't know us, right? They know you and they just want to see what the next one is, kind of thing.
It's a combination of everything. But I think the fascinating part about what we're doing is that it's proving that people are so starved for conversation, even if they're not doing it themselves, they will watch other people having conversations that they don't know and probably didn't even know what I mean, it doesn't make any sense why anybody watches any podcast, really. But
look at reality TV,
but
too,
it does
how
make,
big that's gotten.
Bingo. We're watching other people live their lives.
Yeah.
And in a smaller way, we're doing it here. People are watching us sitting down and having a physical conversation. It's crazy.
Well, it's relatable.
It is.
Okay, so we're sitting here having this conversation and everyone is looking at it on their screen and they say, oh, well, that could be me sitting there.
100%.
Maybe I believe I believe the same exact thing, or that's my view.
100%.
And before, maybe we were watching a television show which had people that mirrored maybe what our lives look like. But now we've kind of transitioned away from that. Now reality TV is a thing. Let's face it.
No.
Reality TV does not mirror reality.
No.
It's what's being sold to us as reality.
It's very produced.
This,
No doubt.
this is a little
I
more
know it
realistic.
firsthand.
Okay.
Definitely.
The content makes sense.
Real.
We're having conversations about things that matter to us, or questions that we have, and other people can relate to that. That's why it's the next thing. That's why people are interested, because there are people like you and I, like all of us.
Yeah, I 100%. It just the virtual thing freaks me out.
It is freaky as hell.
Freaky as
You're not wrong in feeling that
The
way.
metaverse is like, that's not really even deeply here yet. They're still trying to get the emojis not to look so bad, I guess, or the avatars, where the hell they are. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that, because it hasn't rolled out as fast as he wanted it to. But I mean, people are going to be living their lives with headsets on. This is coming.
Oculus.
This is actually
Oh,
coming.
I have
I mean,
one.
it's not
Yeah.
going to be. It's not going to be like just a hobby. It's going to be like a good part of your day. Oh man, I don't know. I'm probably glad I am the age I am. I don't know. I can't.
Are you going
I
to give
can't
up?
succumb. No, I won't succumb to. I won't succumb completely to the virtual world. No.
And you
Keep
don't
saying,
have to.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. I'm already there, I guess.
You're
No,
gonna
but
be
you
on-
don't have to.
I do that
you
too.
know?
I do it.
On the fringe.
You do.
That's it. You're gonna be.
I remember
You're gonna be
when-
the guy on the fringe.
I can't wait. It's so funny. There was a picture yesterday, I think I saw somewhere, of Jack Nicholson. I guess he's like 85 now, and he's like really lost it. He's got them. Sadly, I think he might have dementia or Alzheimer's. But they have a picture. He won't come out of his chalet. Apparently, he's been in his chalet for like 6 months, and he won't come out. So he went on the balcony, and of course, the paparazzi got some telephoto lens, and they got him. They got him good clear pictures. And he is just like the epitome of the guy going out to get his newspaper and not on my fucking lawn, get on my lawn. I mean, it's unbelievable, but that's what I don't want to end up like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe like some solace and peace is where he's at. Because if you,
Oh, it could be.
right,
Could
where
be.
he just is like, I just want my peace until I am dead away from this planet.
Looks like he wants his box of donuts too.
Probably. Yeah.
He could use a brush and a shave. But, I mean, it was pretty scary stuff. But yeah, I just, it's, and it's a funny thing too. For me, it's tough because I was mentioning to you before, like my circle of folks I grew up with missed a lot of the internet. I was doing something as in my 30s what 18-year-olds were doing. I just kind of grabbed it early, so I kind of understood the workings of it. As a guy moving into his 40s and 45. So now, when I'm very comfortable with all of it, because what do most people my age or a little older know about the internet? Really? That there's an app on their phone for this Facebook thing, and they may have Instagram. They might. And they know they can go to Walmart.com and order some groceries. That's basically it. Generally speaking, of course. And you can go to Google and search for things that interest them and all that. But
Google.
yeah, right. Google, right? Yeah. But so I'm always, I understand the fish out of water thing. But even me trying to stay up on it right now, I look at it like, wow, we are going down a very non-physical. I mean, is it emotionless?
No.
We yell at each other online and all that stuff, but I mean, is the technology?
It doesn't
I mean,
allow us
it's not
to
breathing, it's
not
not
have
alive.
emotions. It doesn't matter though. It allows us to have emotions regardless, because there's people that have like fallen in love over the internet from very, very far away. They end up getting married and spending the rest of their life together. Right? If they didn't have the internet, they would have never have met, and this wouldn't have been a beautiful story. Right? I'm just taking the opposite side that you take, right? The love and the light versus like the impending doom. Right? But that doesn't mean there isn't impending doom in this. There is a whole other side to this, right?
But to your point, so if we're sitting here, I can get a better feel for your intention based upon the way something's delivered to me verbally, as opposed to you're saying the same thing offline. Like, isn't it easier for us to read each other and understand the nuances of what we're feeling in person than virtually. Because the thing is, do you really know what you're getting? Is it reality? Is it all bullshit? There's a thing called catfishing, right? You all know what that is.
Right.
That's the extreme of it. But do we really ever really kind of know?
No, it's all bullshit. Reality is bullshit. We
Oh, do
present
tell.
ourselves the way that
We
other
want-
people to
Yes.
see us.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's virtual or if it's in person. Can you manipulate another person into thinking that you're something that you're not? It's the whole reason why people go and they buy the things they buy and they wear what they wear and they style their hair the way that they style it, because we want everyone to think we're something we're not, or,
Or just to be seen
Right.
as whatever that is.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's
it-
deliberate choice.
In person, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's more relevant or true.
Okay.
It just means that now you can see it in front of you. You can see the physical form. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm any more real or authentic or...
That dating thing, though, freaks me out.
Oh, the dating thing's fun.
Because well, I'm just saying, I can remember in 2010, meeting a couple potential suitors, or is that the right word? I don't know.
Yeah.
Potential dates at a bar, and looking for them and just can't find them because the 5 photographs that were on their profile don't look anything like the person that showed up. That was a regular event. And that's what really led me to believe that we can create any kind of persona we want on there and try to sell it to the other side. Not realizing the fact that eventually they're going to find out, but it must not matter, right? I mean, to the person who's faking their dating profile, they know the end will not end well. I would think they would know that, right?
But they're seeking instant gratification.
So that's more valuable than knowing
them.
they're not going to get the end
To them.
result of like a relationship.
To them, because they can replicate that over and over and over and over, that same exact thing over and over endlessly, but still not have that physical connection. It's still the same receptors in your brain that are lighting up like crazy to get that, right? Because it's like, oh, I have attention, I have attention, I have attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's not always it. So you have people that go on these dating sites and they catfish people and they present themselves as something that they're not.
Right.
But some of these people don't have the ability or would not be seen as someone in person. Maybe you wouldn't talk to this person normally. Okay. So this person is going after that validation. They want to be part of the social norm. It's one of the things that I noticed whenever I started online dating, and it's so sad because you see the reality that there are so many people out there that all they want to do is to belong, to have someone in their life and to be seen and valued. And so what do they do whenever they post their real picture and they send out 300 messages and they get 0 responses back?
Okay.
Or you get a negative response from someone. So now we're going to create a person online that people will respond to so that we can be part of someone's social circle, because in real life,
They would know.
we're an outcast.
I never looked at it like that. Okay.
So it creates their own reality, and they're still, again, their brain is lighting up the same way as if the person was next to them.
So that's the value for them.
Our brain does not know any different. That's the problem, right?
Yeah. So you have this online dating was a thing.
Yeah.
I had someone lie to me about how tall they were. And I kept
that one.
thinking to myself, why would you lie about something that like
Short kings.
and I don't look at it like that, but
Yeah.
you like that's something that you need to be honest and upfront about things like that, because when you show up to dinner and I have on a 6-inch heel and you're 5'3", it's not a good look. It
Or
isn't.
for other people or
because
them.
when you lied, you knew that that
Right. Right.
they knew that I was going to care, right?
So,
Yes.
so that's the thing, is you need to be able to be aware that this is based in lies and
Right.
run.
Well,
It's based in lies and you get out of there.
yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All because some people want to belong.
Right.
They want.
They'll do anything.
What do you do when physical reality sucks to the point where you're not part of anyone's group.
Yeah, that's a horrid place to be, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's a horrid place to be, where you can't find any kind of commonality with anybody. You're not skilled, for whatever reason, not skilled enough to do it.
Not with the 10 people that are in your group.
Right.
But the 60 million people that
You'll find somebody.
all think that you're someone you're not, or how you present yourself, they love you. They think you're great. And they like all your pictures. And now your life is worth it.
For a little while at least.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
then that instant like gratification or whatever goes away, and it's like.
So wait a
okay,
second.
what now?
You're saying that people. Wait, let me try to understand. Right? So you're saying that there is a portion, a swath of the people. Let's just pick on Match.com for the moment. There's a swath of people on Match.com right now that are looking for connection virtually in whatever kind of made-up persona they're putting out there. And getting that connection is enough for them because they know the lie will be found at some point. And that doesn't really, they're not going to get that far. They're just looking to feel validated
Instantly.
virtually.
Yep.
And that's all they're doing? That's it?
They're men.
Well, women do the same thing too.
Not to the same extent.
Right.
Okay.
Well, for different reasons, maybe.
Oh,
For
I agree
different
with that.
reasons. But it doesn't matter the gender because gender lines have been blurred
Right.
here.
Okay, I agree.
Right. So, like, it's not like a man versus woman. It's like a human thing. Right. There's no acceptance based off of like my sexuality or whatever that person is going through. Right. They just don't have a good system around them. You know, their own family can turn on them, but then they can seek solace on places that allow them to be who they are. Right. Even if it's weird to you. Right. You know, there's an outlet for them to then gain acceptance. That's all we want. That's the human existence. Doesn't matter where we get it from. As long as our brain is lit up in a certain way and we feel that and we can become vulnerable and all these things that we do within like interpersonal communications and relationships, right? But it is virtual for them because like we are visual creatures sometimes, right?
It's the collision of the physical world with the virtual world, and that collision that I would think eventually is going to happen, and it probably isn't going to be good in that circumstance. That will be enough of a deterrent not to create the fucked up profile. I mean, like, where's the disconnect? I mean,
Well, you're never going to meet that person.
As soon as he showed up, he was 7 inches shorter than you. So,
Right.
I mean, like...
Well, because he thought that he had built a connection
He
that
could
was going
overcome
to
it.
withstand
The lie?
7-inch height difference.
It's a lie, okay.
Which did not.
Oh, it's a lie. It's a horrible way to start off
Right.
meeting somebody new, right? I mean,
You can't trust them right off the bat because, if they're lying about themselves already.
Right, exactly.
Right.
blatantly.
Right.
But at the same time, then I didn't understand it. It was actually my very first online experience. So at the time,
Right out the gate?
Oh,
That was
I
right
was
out
like
the
the
gate.
first person I agreed to meet.
Right
Apparently,
out the gate.
he thought the Porsche and the Ferrari were going to make up for this
Okay.
need for platform shoes. But when you get into the demographic of online dating, so I believe that there is a much higher instance of men on dating sites than there are
no
are
question.
women.
No
okay,
question.
because a woman can get a date. I can go anywhere and someone and I'm not saying this from a position of
No, we are equipped with everything that we
Yes.
need in order to get what we want.
Yes,
Men are not this.
I am.
Sorry, guys.
right. It's the same. Men
That's a
on
biological fact.
Yes.
Still,
Men-
still in year 2023.
men do not have that same ability.
No.
Women are not going to walk up, pick you up off the street. If you walk up to a woman, she is not going to give you the time of day. That's just the way that it is, because there's like this danger, why are you coming up to me? Why am I going to give you
And
my
there's
time?
still kind of an order to things in society. There still is. Thank God in some regards.
So looking at that, the men on these dating sites, they send out hundreds of messages and don't ever get a response back. Whereas as a woman on a dating site, everyone thinks you're a bot.
Okay.
That's
And-
true. That's
Okay.
true.
There's no doubt.
not real.
You're not real. There's no way you're real.
Yeah.
And then You don't ever have, depending on what site you're on, you don't ever have to send anyone a message. Match? I don't think I ever sent a single message on Match. Every single day, you'd have 300 new messages from people. 300 new messages. And they're all, hey, 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 hi.
Yeah. Yeah. How was your day?
Hey must be a
How was
thing,
your
right?
day?
Yeah.
Hey.
Got any plans for the weekend?
I've said hey lots in my life, but I've never written it out. Like,
Yeah.
hey, that's the thing, writing it out. Hey.
But think about it. Think about sending that message, okay, to 300 women
It's numbers.
and never getting a single response back. Ever.
Based off
You
of
wouldn't
your
hire that salesperson.
pictures. Well, it's based off of what you see. That's
what you
it.
look like.
Yeah, that's
which
it.
is one of the reasons why women like to doctor themselves up whenever they post a picture, because
we take our best ones.
oh yeah,
Men do it too, though. I mean,
Their best ones include fish. Right? I know you know what I'm talking about.
oh yeah, I do.
Stupid fish.
Fish.
All the
I'm with
ladies
Eric
in the
on this
place
one.
say hey.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's the truth.
Lost
It
us
is the
there.
truth.
I know. I hope someone, when you put this out into the ether, keep the
someone's
fish.
gonna know.
Keep the fish. Someone's gonna say, "Yes, Amy."
Fish.
like a
fish.
fisherman? A guy's fishing with a... Never mind.
Guys just fish. They go fishing all the time.
okay.
They think that
It's
is
a
an
metaphor. Okay.
No,
It's the
literal.
perfect.
They think that it's not a
dating
metaphor,
site.
though. It's not a metaphor.
Yeah, no. Just for sake of our conversation.
Oh yeah,
it's a
yeah,
metaphor.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they have the fish picture. They caught this fish. Look what I caught. And it's like, we don't give a shit.
Oh
we don't give
my
a shit.
God. Oh my
You caught that? Great.
God.
So what? Right? Look at this like deer I killed. That's another one too. Oh.
That one doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Okay.
I know. Anyways.
I mean, you
That's
know what you're getting
amazing.
when you see
You
the
do.
pictures, though.
So
it's
you
like
can choose
you're
the. Yeah.
either with it or you're not, I guess. but-
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I don't think I've ever caught
So
a
wait a
fish
second.
that
Wait a
was.
second.
Yeah.
So we're not leaving the table tonight until we get the worst dating experience that you've ever had.
Oh, from a dating site?
It could be, or it could not. It'd be great if it was from a dating site, but if it's not, that's fine too. Because we're gonna end some humor. We're gonna end on some humor.
I agreed to meet up with somebody at Redbeard's, which was my fault. Redbeard's in Mount Washington. Redbeard's?
Yeah.
It's not good there, right? You know, you're watching sports and
Yeah,
eating
it's-
chicken wings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Loud
not.
bar.
Yeah. So I agreed to this, and it wasn't anything like it was at night. It was probably like, okay, 4:00 in the afternoon, so that like there wasn't drinking going on, or there maybe shouldn't be drinking going on. This guy had been there for several hours before I got there, was hammered drunk, didn't look like who he was. I was so confused when I walked in. I was like, do I know you? And then he tried to high five me. He said, I got you a water, sit down. I said, no, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thanks for coming down. And thanks for that water. He tried to high five me. I said, don't try to high five me. Get out of here.
High five.
I know. Good. Did you hear that though? That was a good high five.
That was a good high
Yeah.
five.
So that was probably the worst. Tame,
Oh
right?
my god.
Pretty tame.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty tame. So whatever. It
Your
was a
next
nightmare.
bow.
I don't even know. I did the
It's all
online dating
haze.
a lot, and a lot of bad dates, but not a crazy
Nothing
one that's
horrid?
standing out. Not, I don't know.
Did
I
anyone
think
not represent themselves correctly?
Yeah,
We can start there.
yeah. I mean, not like complete catfish, but it's like you don't look exactly like your picture.
Did you?
I don't. No, no, I was
man.
more polite than that. But I don't. I'm just trying to think of like a crazy bad one. I don't know.
We can come back to you.
Okay, let me.
I know you got one, or
I
two,
have a list.
or three.
No, I wouldn't say that they're bad though. I think it's all. I enjoy the human experience. I enjoy, meeting new people. I've never found a person that I have been extremely uncomfortable with that showed up on a.
That's good. That's good. That's a
date.
positive.
I did want to know why. So there was the short guy,
short
who
guy.
misrepresented his height. Yeah, we had talked back and forth. He was extremely successful.
Mm-hmm.
But when we met and that height difference, I just could not get past it. I couldn't.
Don't apologize for that.
The second was 20 years older than he represented himself. Still extremely attractive. I still went out with him. But absolutely, how do you do that?
Yeah.
The funny thing is because he was semi-public, you could search him online. So I already knew that he was 20 years older than he told me he was. And when I asked about it, he said, I can't face the truth. I just can't face the truth. Again, another extremely successful person.
But that's where like virtual reality is going to collide with the physical reality at
Right.
some point, right?
Right.
But you'll find like a lot of people don't spend the time to find who is it that I'm looking to meet with. Okay. So they automatically trust. I can say I'm not that person. I've never been that person. So I'm going to do a background check before I meet with anybody.
Yeah, I'm smart.
And it's amazing what you can find online just to pull it up. I mean, I have sat at a table with some of the most interesting people. Some of them, their stories are amazing and awesome. But at the same time, when you pull up their information online and say, like, do I really want to meet with this person? You know, do I? I do, because I want to hear what the life experience is.
sure.
And I want to
For
see if
sure.
they're going to be honest about
Right.
it. Okay. So
Right.
I already know part
That's
of
a
the
good
story.
test.
It's like a
That's
social
right. Yeah, that's a good
experiment.
test.
Yeah.
That's a good
It
test.
kind
I'm
of
with
is.
it. Yeah, I'm with it.
So, not putting myself in any danger, but what is it? You know, what is this person really all about? You can't be 7 inches shorter than you said you were going to be, though.
Right.
That
Yeah,
right there is an automatic. I
non-negotiable.
wanted to ask, don't take this the wrong way, for a booster seat.
Oh, you got to be shitting me.
We sat at a high top table. I didn't know if he was going to make it.
Was he kicking feet?
Feet dangling.
Yeah. He was kicking feet the whole time. Did he kick you?
No, he didn't. Yeah,
my
he,
God.
he was extremely polite
I'm
and
thinking
very
of another
friendly.
adult that
But
kicks feet. That person's unfortunately very small and it's funny.
I'm small. It happens to me all the time.
You can't. You're tall enough. Not
I
to
put
kick
the
feet.
seat down.
I almost put mine
I
down.
did.
I
don't
almost
care.
did. I am
My
not
feet
a
now
tall
hit
person.
the ground. My feet now hit the ground. Okay. I don't care. I know my strengths. But I tell people, you know, I'm 5'2". That's all you get. Yeah.
I'm like 5'3.5" on a tall day. Mm-hmm. With the pair of Nikes, another 1.5 inches.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like 6. I'm like still over 6 if I stink.
I'm 5'10".
Do you hear us
My
all?
hinge-back.
Even athletes do this on, you know, like the combine sheet. They round up. So if someone's actually
I'm a
like
little over
5'11",
6. No, I was saying.
Do you know why?
I'm a little over 6.
We all know why.
you have to, yeah, it's like you have to be bigger and better and
Yeah.
stronger and all this.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you
yeah,
have to
it's a
appear as
mentality.
this
Yep,
on a piece of paper,
100%.
right?
I used to be 5'11".
Really?
Oh yeah, we all hunch.
You
I'm
used
like
to be 5'11".
5'10" and a half.
Dude, we-
yeah, I brought it.
Dude,
Really?
we all hunch. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm a hunch.
Now
like
I
this.
lowball it.
Oh my god! Yeah, you
5'10".
should actually.
Started wearing
Yeah.
hokas, so now I wear hokas. I'm definitely like 6'1", 6'1.5". It's fantastic.
Oh my god!
Tall shoes.
Tall shoes.
So did you think of your?
No, but there were some that were just like awkward, like, you know, on the online dating where you talk online, it seems everything's fine, and then when you meet up, it was just like not clicking here,
Yeah, for
like
real-
no
real
conversation.
human
It was just
Yeah.
very like,
connectivity.
yeah, this doesn't work at all. But I mean, like, I guess at least we knew right away. So
See, I don't ever have that problem. I've been in sales for 20 years. I'm used to talking to people. I don't ever have an uncomfortable moment sitting at a table talking
Were
to someone.
you like an extrovert? Like, if you were to describe yourself, do you describe yourself as like more extroverted or introverted?
No, I'm going to say I'm probably straight down the middle.
Okay, a little bit.
But I grew up, so I'm a triplet,
okay,
and it creates a different dynamic.
yeah,
Because you're forced to be. I was raised in like a social experiment,
right.
essentially. And you don't typically have like an independent personality. Okay. So I always make the joke that for the first 18 years of my life, no one knew my first name.
Yeah.
People
Which
to
one
this
are you?
day, yes,
Yeah,
people to this
the
day will
worst.
say, "Oh, you're one of the triplets."
Ugh.
Be like, "Yeah, I know. One of them's a boy."
I have
Okay.
3-month-old twin girls. So
Yeah,
it's like,
and I saw that.
yeah. So,
So but it's one of the things that you have to like guard against, because it's like, do you have your own identity? But one of the issues that I have in dating is I don't ever run into that oh, we didn't hit it off. Because if a conversation
Right.
is struggling from one end, okay, so I'm
can
gonna
bridge it.
go ahead and change the conversation,
Yeah, right.
and I'm gonna give you something that you can talk about, and then you're gonna talk about, and
But
then
not everyone is skilled in that.
Yeah, I'm definitely
right?
more introverted. and,
Right.
like,
I'm
shy, but, like-
I'm also extremely introverted. If you can believe it, I am extremely because I don't talk to people like out in public and stuff. I will not talk to anybody. I keep my head down. I keep to myself. You know, I mind my business. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I always say mind your business, stay
Yep.
hydrated.
Yep.
I literally mind my business. I do not want to talk to anybody, but if I have to, because I do have a background in sales, that helped me break through that
Got it.
because of what I learned. That's
Got
the
it.
only reason why. But if I had to choose, I would say I'm more introverted than I am extroverted, and that's like my true self.
I definitely appreciate the introverted side. Because you don't want to have it turned on all the time. That's
It's
why I'm saying I'm
exhausting.
probably a
Right.
50-50.
Right.
Yeah.
But could you imagine never having that? Everyone thinks it's the perfect. This is the perfect relationship. It's the perfect date. We didn't have a
'cause you-
quiet moment.
Because you served it up on a silver platter to them.
Yeah.
To
You did all the
basically-
work.
To basically, you basically save them the awkward circumstance.
Well, no one wants to sit in that,
right.
right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
who wants to sit there and
100%.
No one.
let's
they're left
change
with-
the subject,
But they're left with the wrong connotation.
right?
100%.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm definitely an extrovert.
Yeah.
We never would have guessed.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't shut up as a kid, and I couldn't shut up as an adult, and I'm still doing it. So again, this is a midlife thing, right? I was probably 43, 44, two-time loser, so going through a second divorce, you know, all those pre-connotations in my head, bad mental thinking. But very polite, and I'm a big chivalry guy. Like I like things the way they should be. Probably too formal for today's society, but that's what I like, right? It was funny. There was a very attractive woman. She's from Swickley Heights or something. So I figured, you know, this is going to be interesting because, you know, I'm the furthest thing from that. Let's just go. She wanted to meet. So we go over to meet at the Swickley Starbucks. Middle of the day. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad place to go, right? I even have a friend. There's a little comic book store right there in Swickley. I stopped and hey, Dave, I'm going to go. I'll see you in about an hour. So I got a good feeling about this one. He was laughing. Yeah, sure. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Sure enough, he did see me in 10 minutes because I went to the Starbucks, waited for her. Very attractive. Comes in the door, and she's carrying a bassinet. Now, hear me out. I'm 43. I figured she's probably my age, maybe a little older. I'm thinking either she's babysitting, or maybe it's her grandchild. You know, it's very possible. You know, I go, "You want something to drink?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, give me this." So I go get it, come back. We're sitting there, and I go. And she goes, "Oh, gee, this is my so-and-so," or her little female. So this is so-and-so. Oh, how you? And I'm going, is that your baby? And she goes, "Oh, yes." Because that's the first time I've been out since I got home from the hospital. My first day out. I'm like,
Oh my God.
oh, obviously, congratulations. I go, have a nice life. And I grab the coffee, and I walk out. And she's like, "Well, are you leaving?" I said, "Absolutely." And she says, "Well, why?" I go, "We set this up 2 weeks ago, right? And you're telling me you just got home from the hospital and you just had
She didn't have
That's
the baby then.
crazy. I know, Ralph.
I mean, the baby was probably 6 weeks old, maybe, or
Yeah.
something.
Oh
But she
my
was in like for a
God.
different, called pregnancy, whatever it was. She had just given birth. And she's on a dating site.
Oh my God.
And she brought the baby to the date.
On her first day out.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
10
since
minutes
you
fly, I'm walking back to my car, and I passed Dave in the comic book store. I'm like, "Dave," because I told you.
Oh
I go,
my God.
I told you, and you know, but that's like, yes, like who does that?
Oh man.
Yeah, first date.
Yikes.
Brand
You
newborn.
win.
I won that battle, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
100%.
Yeah, that's all I got, though. I mean, I got a lot of interesting stories, but you know, they're probably not suitable for
That should be a whole
airing on the
podcast for you.
podcast. I thought
Airing
about
it
doing
out.
that. I thought about doing that. See, I went through like 60 plus first dates in the year and a half, 2 years before I met my wife. And I thought, of course, I journal everything, so I've got them all in a little binder, and I've got everything. So there was some stuff.
You should write a book.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some stuff. Yeah, nothing salacious, just really odd people.
Yeah.
Just odd encounters, and now I fast forward 13 years. What is it like today?
Ugh.
How crazy is it today?
Like what's odd?
Did you odd? Oh, just
See, I think it's one of the reasons why I'm okay with meeting anyone. Is it really odd, or is it just that someone's different than you?
Well, we all have our own sense of odd, right?
Yeah.
So odd's not odd would not be a label you'd want to just throw out. You know, odd's a very specific thing.
Taking your newborn on your first date,
Right, that's wild.
That's a little odd, but
Well, setting it up while you're in the hospital.
Right, that's
That's the whole thing. Like, we
Aren't
just
you
didn't figure this
busy?
out yesterday. Like, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I was bored.
Yeah, aren't you busy as hell?
like, really?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, online dating. I mean, did you online date through the pandemic? How'd that work?
Yeah,
I
I did.
Did you? How'd that go?
I did. It didn't. It didn't because no one knew how to proceed. How do we do this?
What's the
is what they would
instructions?
ask. And I'm like, what the hell do you mean? How do
What
we
are the-
do this?
What are the rules?
Yeah, and it's like, well, we can't really go anywhere. So, like, we have to have these conversations, right? Do you talk on the phone? Right? That's a question.
Do you talk on the phone?
yeah,
You do.
yeah.
I don't mean to your sister, your friends, but like on like to a
Yeah.
potential that you do. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm dating someone, there has to be a phone conversation. It cannot
Yeah.
be purely a text
Text,
message.
yeah. That's just a pen
There's some
pal.
positivity. There's some
Yeah,
positivity.
that's a pen pal.
Well, do you think generations below us, though, that's not the case?
They still have to, like, face each other at some point, I
Oh
would imagine.
no, FaceTime is a thing.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a step in the right direction, maybe.
And at least you could see that person in real time. So that, alleviates any
Well, you
type
can
of...
see that from here down. They're probably sitting there in their underwear.
Maybe. That's cool, too.
It's
I mean, I think a lot of them are. So yeah, and we make fun of it. Some of us will actually show like what we're wearing.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm wearing. So one of the other women that I work with was at home also, and we were doing a brief call about a project that we were working on together, and she stood up and she was like, these are the new pants I got, and they're like a jersey sweat material, and it was like all the rage, but from the top up she had a jacket on. She looked extremely professional.
Yeah.
I do wear a suit every day, even though I work from home.
Is that like a part of your like routine to
It
like,
is.
get into
So,
work? Yeah.
well, I think it has to do with professionalism.
Yeah.
I think that it's one of the things that has gotten lost since the pandemic.
Yeah.
When you wear a uniform, it signifies that I am now doing
At work.
my job. I'm at work,
yeah.
and when I take that off, it is then my personal, it's my personal
you're
time.
dressed for work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And there's a difference with like putting a suit on where you're just in that mentality. Like, all right, I'm ready for what
there's no
ready to
question.
work, ready. Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
I
You
fight
carry
it-
yourself
I fight it
differently.
every day because I dress pretty casual for a realtor. I mean, I have to force myself to put a blazer on because people don't generally care, but I care because it's more about the mentality I have. When I'm always in denim, but if I have dress shoes on and a blazer, I feel like I'm working. If I don't have that on, I'm just kind of like, I'm just fitting real estate in today with what else I have to do. And that's not the place I want to be mentally, if that makes any sense. So I kind of force myself. And I have a very good friend of mine who has been with the company for 35 years and done very well, but now he's remote and it's driving him crazy because he's used to that. He puts his three-piece suit on. Not three-piece. He puts his suit, jacket, tie, and all that in every day, basically to go into his extra bedroom in his house, and then when it's over with, he just changes back in.
That's what I do.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
I put on a
Just like you
jacket.
said.
I have on the
The full thing.
thing.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that for sure.
Yeah.
That little bit of formality, I think, and,
Yeah.
and that might be what's missing in business too because of the web. Because casual dates became a thing in my industry, which was paging telecommunications. Back when I left in '99, it was driving me crazy because I could see and I was in sales too, and I could see like the line people that are working supporting roles in the company that like when they were dressed casually, less shit got done. I could see that, and I'm thinking, this is the trend. This is not going to be good. And I got out, I think, and I didn't miss any of that bullshit, but everything got real casual after 9/11.
Yeah.
Remember, it got real casual. Is this still pretty casual? I mean, like...
bad.
Is it really?
Oh, it's so bad. I'll get on calls, and people will be wearing T-shirts and baseball caps. And when you think about it, when you're selling a service or you're selling a product, and I sell software, so whenever it's hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes.
It's a big decision.
You're making an investment. How is someone going to take you seriously if you have on a baseball cap and a champion T-shirt? Okay, and we're dealing with technology, and maybe the person that you're dealing with is the CIO or even the CEO, and people feel comfortable getting on a conference call, a video call, in a T-shirt and a baseball cap.
Now, but didn't technology kind of usher that in, like the socials and all?
No, that was COVID.
You don't think?
I have worked from home for 10 years.
Okay.
Easy. And even then, it was never
got it
appropriate, accepted, or allowed to work in an environment or present yourself that way with a customer. And now it is, no one blinks.
I know.
And I think that's changing. I think corporate America has said no more. Okay. Because now we need to see the value. Okay. We're paying everyone a lot of money. We need to see the value. So some of us are moving back into corporate space. And guess what comes with that?
Formality.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Now you have a dress code. Yeah. Now you have to carry yourself in a certain way. Now you need to be able to communicate.
That's the way business was done. Again, I can say this because of my age and the area that I'm talking about, but like the 70s, and especially for me, the 80s and 90s, there was a code of conduct with business. When you think about business, how business was done, commerce. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dressing and being who you are. I'm okay with that. But when you're doing business, do business. To your point, real estate is very much like that. Like to me, you can be casual in real estate once in a while, but if you're not putting on a blazer most of the days you're out doing business, even if you have denim on, even if you're those folks that wear suits with tennis shoes, I don't know how that goes, but that's a thing. I don't do it. God bless you if you do it. But generally, I'm sorry, David. David, I'm sorry. I don't mean it personally. I'm just saying I don't get it. But at least you have the blazer on. So if someone's taking a headshot of you, there's some kind of formality there. You usually have the zip-up turtleneck, whatever you're wearing. It's just it's that jacket thing.
Yeah.
It speaks business to me at the bare minimum, for a man. If you have the jacket.
You're not just representing yourself either. It's your business. And
you would
that's
think.
It. That is it.
The lines are kind of blurred now, though, aren't they?
I think that we're going to see a pivot back. I think we've gone too far, and I think it's time for us to recenter. So I think the recenter it's definitely happening. I've seen it in big software corporations have now said everyone can't be at home. We can't. Why? Because it doesn't work for a certain aspect of our business.
Got it.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it work? Because people are no longer carrying themselves with professionalism that allows us. It's the difference between selling a customer for $15,000 or $20,000 and selling a customer for a couple $1 million. So who do you want to sell to? Yeah, we still want to get the guy who's going to spend $15,000. Okay, we want to capture as much market share. But at the end of the day, what you're driving for is the logo. Your logo. Would you rather sell a coach? Would you rather Hermes?
Right.
I mean, so who do you want to sell?
Right. I agree. 100%.
They want to sell the big dog. And in order to sell the big dog, you got to look like you can handle it. And if you walk in with your blue jeans and your T-shirt and your baseball cap, the CIO, the CEO they're going to say, you're not taking this seriously.
And that was almost unfathomable to think of what you just stated 30 years back. Never In the 70s or the 80s, especially those decades, would somebody walk into a circumstance like that on a high-end business sale dressed that way? You wouldn't even want to run in on your day off if you had to run to the office and grab something. Sometimes they wouldn't want you to step on premise if you weren't dressed appropriately. That's how it used to be. Must
You
have
get
been
sent
better or
home.
worse.
Did you ever see those old Kennywood videos? Everyone would dress up in suits and go to Kennywood. That's just,
Oh yeah, that's right. Way back.
yeah.
They used to dress up to fly too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Flying
right.
Anytime
was
you
a
go out,
formal
you put on
thing.
a suit because you're
Flying
representing
used
yourself.
to be a
so.
formal thing.
Yeah.
Did you all have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I like
Yeah.
this group.
Thanks for having
I
me.
like to do this again.
I'm in.
This is a good
Right.
group.
I'm in.
It means a lot. Thank you very much for
Thank
doing
you.
this.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're going to do it again. And thank y'all. We are out.
Splash.